3, 2, 1.
My name is Nick. I'm a full-time trader and entrepreneur. We put out tons of stuff for free for traders. These are real trades. This is real money. I'm putting my money on the line. This is going to be a live trading video here, locking in over $1,000 on this trade. Wow, I'd love to get in on this. Technical insights that really look good to me. Here we go. We're live. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another live stream. Let me bring my mic a little bit closer. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. Shout out to Trey, Thomas, Denise, Victoria, Helmy, Charles, Don, Brad, Andrew. Thank you guys for being here. I do see you in the chat and appreciate you being here with me. We are going to talk about some of the stuff going on right now. Actually, I was looking right before the stream started at the Australian dollar right now, which just popped pretty good in response to, I believe it was good CPI numbers. Yeah, so we had good CPI numbers from Australia. Actually, wait a second. No, we didn't. Australia is anticipating, I guess, good numbers here because Australian dollar right now is trading higher here in the pre-market, or not pre-market, during the early stages of the New York session. But in today's video, as we usually do, we'll take a look at some markets. We'll talk about some trade setups and ideas. And of course, we will start here today with something a little different. We'll start with the Australian dollar. I had a couple people who were asking for me to do a little bit more with the AUD pairs, just because I haven't, I guess, looked at them so much recently. I'm happy to do so. We'll take a look at AUD USD here and see what's going on with this currency pair. So as I mentioned, the Australian Central Bank we'll be seeing and reacting to the CPI numbers here today. Now, that's not for about 12 hours from now, but that news, generally speaking, when you get big news coming, it causes the market to sort of buy the rumor or sell the rumor and, you know, prepare for impact, if you will, with these big releases. So with CPI numbers coming, we're seeing the Australian dollar kind of get moving here. Probably going to see some of the NZD pairs as well, but let's take a look at them. We'll take a look at some AUD pairs this morning just to see what is going on with these ones today. So starting with the daily chart, just as a higher time frame perspective, you can see that the Aussie dollar has really made a pretty impressive comeback here from its really bearish state a couple weeks ago. So again, we were seeing this just continued downtrend for a while. We saw rejection up in this point, and now we're starting to see the breakout to the upside. We're seeing bulls come back in on parade on the Australian dollar. Now, I think that that very well could be set to continue. The commodities market is doing very, very well, especially when you have sort of like that energy crisis in parts of the world right now, like the UK. It kind of makes sense that places like Canada, which have a lot of oil, places like Australia, which do a lot of resource-based trade, they're seeing a little bit of a boost. They're seeing that commodity jump in pricing, and that is causing their currencies and hence their economy to do okay, right? So again, seeing that breakout there in terms of the previous supply zone, now we actually have to mark this as demand because you can see on the daily chart, again, we got that breakout. We'll take a look at the 4-hour view for a second. We got that breakout here, made that move higher, and then that same level of what was resistance now acting as support. So I do think that the buyers here on the Australian dollar have a pretty good position for themselves. They have been showing their strength continuously, you know, pretty much every dip getting bought. So for me right now, this thing looks fairly bullish. Now, I think that honestly, the trade when looking at AUD USD has already kind of passed, right? I think that the trade was, in hindsight, of course, somewhere around that 50 to 61.8. I probably would have missed this trade because just truthfully speaking, I probably would have been looking for 61.8 to get tagged. That looks like a clean level to me, but the market seemed to have really liked it and pushed that price right off of support. So where do we go from here? Well, you know, this would be a situation in which there's not a whole bunch of interest for me. Now, if you're very bullish on the Australian dollar, perhaps we do get a bit more of a retracement and you do see that 61.8 come into play. From there, maybe there's opportunities for that bullish continuation, but I would say that the path of least resistance when looking at AUD USD would be to the upside. Here's a look at the moving averages and you can see very clean price action to the upside, nice little higher lows coming into this market. So everything from a technical analysis standpoint to me looks bullish when looking at AUD USD. So Trade setups could include things like that 61.8% retracement. I do like that personally and may keep an eye on it myself should things open up there. We'll take a look at a couple more of those Pacific currency pairs, AUD and NZD here for a second. Let's actually jump over to AUD JPY for just a moment, see how things are going. Remember that the yen has been very, very weak recently, and we're seeing continued weakness come into the chart today. So AUD JPY continuing to flow to the upside. Now, remember that makes sense. Whenever we're looking at a currency pair, a lot of times people get caught up thinking, oh, I just want to be long on the Aussie dollar. But remember, you're looking at a pair. You're looking at two different currencies at the same time. And so when you take a long position on a currency, you have to be thinking about the other one as well that you would probably want to short or sell in reference to the one that we're talking about. So if you like Aussie, well, that's great. But the other half of the coin is which one do you want to be shorting? If you want to buy Australian dollar, where do you want to short, right? You have to short something because currencies are quoted against one another. So if we're thinking about it from that perspective, we know the yen is very, very weak. And fundamentally, I do like the yen to the downside, right? We can clear this fib because it seems like it's really, really out of touch now. If you're looking at this and you're saying, well, I do like this thing to the upside, maybe that yen could be sort of your funding currency, if you will, the one to short against the Aussie. Now, looking at this, like I said, similar to the Australian dollar, US dollar, I think that the trade has already passed. And I think that, in hindsight here, you do have that beautiful 50% retracement bounce. Really, really nice little move to the upside, pulled back, found support immediately. And now buyers are probably in a good spot. If I had taken this trade, I didn't, but I wish I did. Had I taken this trade, I'd probably be sitting at a position where I'm, at least break even and looking to actually trail my stop loss into profit at this point. So that's a good spot to be in. Congrats if you do have Aussie yen longs currently yourself. You're probably in a good spot, and congrats. What are you guys trading this morning? Let me know in the chat real quick. What is on your watch list? Hey, what's up, my friend Ivan? Good to see you in the chat. Excited to talk to you after. And you guys, we've got Ivan showing up to the next live stream. So Ivan comes on every Tuesday at 10 a.m. US Eastern on our secondary channel, A1 Trading. If you guys are not already following and checking out Ivan's content, you're seriously missing out. Check it out. You can look him up on YouTube, IvanFX, and follow us on our second YouTube channel, A1 Trading, for more live streams. Some of you guys, you miss my stream. Maybe you have work or school or something, and you're not able to get to the stream, but you would still like to watch some content. I'm going to go ahead and give my stamp of approval as if I'm like a high and mighty person. I'm going to give my personal stamp of approval to Ivan because he's awesome and he has some great insights for you. We don't always agree. And when we disagree, it's because he's wrong. But it's always great to hear from Ivan as well. I'm kidding. Ivan has been right in many cases where I have been wrong. In many cases. Many cases. I'm kidding. But yeah, seriously do... check us out on our second channel, A1 Trading. It's my company channel, and Ivan stars as a guest every week. He's one of our most popular guests, and looking forward to having him on today. Yeah, so Kat, you like that, huh? Good. I'll super chat if you tell about gold. Well, we will get to gold. Don't worry. I like to wait personally until gold to kind of do it towards the end when we have more people in here. I appreciate your offer to super chat, but you don't have to do that. Like, I'm not asking for you to super chat or anything like that. We will take a look at gold though. Don't worry. Okay. So yeah, Aussie yen, Aussie dollar. I like them long, but I've got to get a discount. That's my opinion. I think that the trade has already passed. Of course, most of trading, you guys, the reality is that if I were to draw like a pie chart of my trading, that is the worst circle you ever saw. Let's try that again. Still pretty bad, but most of trading, right? Most of trading is waiting. That's just the reality of it, right? Sometimes I've had like comments where people will come on my live stream and they're like, Nick, you're never actually like jumping in and out of trades. And the reality is I do take trades frequently. I take like frequently is like 2 or 3 trades a week, which I know is maybe for some not very frequent. But the reality is that I spend a lot more time when doing my charting, when doing my analysis, studying and waiting on trades to set up, because you really make your edge or not based on waiting for the proper setups that give you the best reward relative to the risk that you're going to take. So no matter what you do, there's going to be the chance of it going wrong, the chance of you just being so off on your trade. So you really want to isolate your trades down to the things that you know give you the best chance of making money and the smallest chance of losing money, right? So you have to be patient. That's the reality of this. It's like being a good fisherman, right? If you're really looking for that big, huge catch someday, you've got to show up and you've got to deal with the sort of the waiting process. Nick, from which country are you? I am from the United States. Could you not tell from my my very American accent? So yeah, please don't spam, by the way. Please don't repeat your question. If you ask it more than once, I'm definitely going to have to put you in timeout, bro. Anyways, we'll keep going. We'll take a look at, for example, Euro Aussie. We'll do one more Aussie pair. Let's take a look at EUR AUD. Look at this one selling off strong. Now, I'm very bearish on the euro. I've talked about it for the last few weeks. Really been a fan of shorting the euro personally. I'm actually short the euro right now against the US dollar, but the euro against the Aussie is also really interesting to me. I would be interested in shorting this thing. But same thing with all the Aussie pairs right now. It seems like the Aussie strength has already kind of come into play. So for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, keep this on the radar, right? There's nothing wrong with me just saying, writing a mental note, maybe even adding it to my watch list to say, hey, you know what? Later on today, I'll come back. Later on this week, I'll come back. Maybe next week, I'll come back. There is literally nothing wrong with just adding something to your watch list and saying, hey, this is an area where I can see myself getting a really good risk to reward, and I'm not going to take a trade until that trade sets up. The sooner you can kind of be like disciplined enough to say like, hey, just give it some time, step away, find the setup, and just wait for it, the better off you'll be, I think. You miss Ivan's laughter? Well, come get it. It's in the next stream. We've got 2 channels. If you're not familiar, we have another channel called A1 Trading where Ivan comes back every single week, and you can check it out there. So you can hang out with Ivan there. Let's keep going. Let's switch over to some of the other euro pairs while we're here. We'll take a look at EUR USD. Here is your Euro USD analysis for the day. The most traded currency pair on earth. Did you know that? Euro USD is the most heavily traded currency pair in the foreign exchange market. Believe it or not, some people really don't like Euro USD. They think it's boring and slow. And hey, maybe that's why I like it, is I can be boring and slow myself. But, you know, Euro USD to me, really, really interesting. So we have to follow up on our thoughts from yesterday. Do you guys remember what we talked about yesterday? Well, we talked about this. We talked about the idea that this area ended up holding. Dang it, I'm not logged into my broker, but I am longed. Sorry, not long. I am short right now, the Euro USD right here. So I didn't catch it here. I could, in hindsight, act like, oh, I caught it right here and then it dropped. No, I didn't. I actually sold it back here. Price went back and forth and finally did drop. But now I'm at a place where, okay, I have my stop loss trail to break even just for, I'm not logged into my broker, and I don't like to log in on screen because I don't want to give like some personal details out to the public, if you know what I mean. It's still YouTube after all. But here's your trade setup anyways. You could see it yesterday, but I was in short on this trade. Here's the initial setup. So I shared this inside of our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, there's a link down below in the description to join. But so anyways, the price was trending lower, retraced back up into this pocket of resistance. I basically took that short. Price dropped eventually, took its time, and I am actually now trailed my stop to break even. So I'm at a good spot. So you can see there's my little entry point. So I entered back here, waited through some of the consolidation, finally saw the break, and now is the time for the euro dollar to make a decision. So yesterday, the point that I made with this is, okay, yes, I am short. Yes, I'm in profit, but now we need to see this trade follow through. Okay. And what I mean by that is there's our resistance point, but now we've broken underneath this zone here. And I would really like to see this level here in green, which I should actually change to pink, hold as resistance. Okay. This is the test, right? For the euro dollar bears. Now that we've seen this big flag pull to the downside, right? Can we see follow through where it counts? Because it's one thing to see a big spike like this, but it doesn't mean anything if price just goes bam, bam, right? We want to see, as euro bears, for those of you guys who are in agreement with me on that, I think that this is, break, retest. Let's see if we can hold here. If we hold, I don't know if we will. I'm assuming that, likely we could get some sellers. We're already seeing a bit of rejection. Test is, can we see some follow through there? If we see follow through, what I will probably do. So again, I shorted here. My stop loss is at break even. Okay. So like I said, I'm not logged in, but just trust me. I showed it yesterday. So I sold here, right? I have a stop loss here. If price can break underneath and continue lower, what I will start to do is I'll take that stop loss and I will move it up, probably behind structure, if not looking for more downside there, and continue to trail my stop. So I am in profit on this trade. So I can't lose money on the trade that I'm in right now. But again, we're just going to look to see. Thank you very much, Emily, for dropping the link, by the way. Guys, let me real quick. What I'm going to do here is I am going to. Can we get some thank you Emily's in the chat? Thank you for that, Emily. That was very helpful. Let me just go here. I'm going to pin that so we can get that link for you guys. So there is a free section of our Discord. I just pinned the message, by the way. There is your Discord link. It is pinned in the chat. If you're sitting here with me right now, join us on the Discord. Like I said, there is a free version. You won't see the trades that I'm taking in the free version, but you will see some of the analysis. You can download some of our free PDFs, and there's like broker recommendations and all sorts of things that might be helpful to you, even if you're not a paid member. So definitely hit that link, join the Discord for free. There's some stuff there for you that might be helpful. Like I said, usually, or I've said many times on stream and in our stuff, is we try and give out as much free content as we possibly can to try and help traders. So again, click that link, join the Discord, and we will see some of you guys in there. Yes. Thank you for thanking Emily. Cool. Awesome. Yes. So where were we? We're talking about the euro dollar. Like I said, for me in my position here, what I'm looking for is to see if we can get some follow through. I'm looking for where did my marker go? Oh, I threw it to the side. Let's bring it back. There we go. So there it is. Sorry about that. So like I said, the idea here, I am short on the euro. I have a good runner here. And the management from this trade from here just goes, okay, can we see a nice break continuing through this fall, like this low, right? Can we break yesterday's low on the euro? If so, I will look to probably trail my stop loss. And those of you guys who are inside of the Discord, in the premium section of the Discord, you'll see my update on this trade. So if I move my stop loss, you'll know about it. If I take additional trades, you'll know about it. I am actually very much considering, I'll be honest with you, I'm considering potentially adding to the trade here. I don't know. I'm going to have to evaluate that after the stream to see what my sort of final verdict on that is. But I do like Euro USD to the short side. It's my number one trade setup right now. Is it a short right here? I don't know. I have to go think about it. I have to go figure out if I want to add to that trade or not. But the idea is the main trade was back here. I called that out in Discord. We're sitting on that. And hopefully we can see some follow through from there. But that is what I am thinking so far on the euro. I do think that a very likely place for price to make its way to, maybe not right away, but maybe in the next few weeks, is a move back down to the lows there at 1.154. Part of the reason here, what's the idea behind euro weakness? Well, a couple different things. The euro area is not recovering as fast as the US right now, right? They are printing a ton of stimulus compared to the US, which is also printing a ton of stimulus. But the US, the difference is, right? If we look at the euro and we talk fundamentally for a second, we say, okay, euro and then USD, right? The euro is printing a tremendous amount of money, right? So is the US, but the US is on the decline for printing money, right? And the euro is keeping steady and keeping plenty of stimulus to try and get things back to normal, which again, that's a very normal thing for nowadays in economics. They do a lot of QE to try and stimulate economies, but stimulating economies with lots of printing of money causes that currency to devalue. So right now we're seeing the euro, in my view, be very bearish with stimulus not being changed. They're not seeing, anywhere near the GDP growth that the US is at this time. So my opinion, higher GDP growth, monetary policy tightening in the US, things looking really optimistic. I prefer the dollar against the euro. So in that case, that gives me a bearish bias on this currency pair. So I'm not looking for longs, right? There's no situation right now where I'm longing the euro at this time. Will that change in the future? Possibly. Come back for more streams. We'll do more analysis together. But right now, my main focus is short biased on the euro against the dollar. So that's my thoughts. Cool. Awesome. Nice. I'm in the same trade with the same thinking, and I'm not in your group, but we'll get in ASAP. Well, awesome. I'm glad that you are sort of following along. I mean, I've been pretty transparent about this setup, this idea, short side for Euro USD. I've talked about that many times on my YouTube publicly. So you've probably been hearing me say the same things for a few days now. So we'll keep going. We'll take a look at pound dollar here for a second. I keep talking about pound dollar, but I'm really not super interested in this currency pair at this time. This is unlike Euro USD, which I just got done talking about. You know, I have a fundamental bias to the short side. It just makes a lot more sense for me. This one I don't. I like both the pound and the dollar long at this time. So I really don't have a huge interest in trading this one. But from just a purely technical perspective, you have a couple levels of support and resistance that may be worth mentioning, and you do have, truthfully, a nice little structure to the upside. So if you are looking at this, I talked about this yesterday, this trend to the upside seems pretty strong. So if you're watching this from either a bullish or bearish perspective, if you're watching from a bullish perspective, really nice little ascending trend here. That from a technical analysis standpoint, that trade looks really good. If I was just going purely technicals, I love that idea. And then inversely, if you're looking for bearish setups, maybe a break of this trend line, because right now it seems like this trend line is just stubbornly holding for the bulls, and that's kind of the natural flow of a strong uptrend, right? Retracements to the trends, trend lines and supportive levels find buyers quickly. And so if we see a lack of those buyers being found, then yeah, maybe we could start to see a retracement. But again, path of least resistance here, in my view, looks like the pound dollar is looking still strong. So I do like the dollar long though, and I like the pound long. So I really don't have a trade set up myself on this market. We could take a look, for example, at pound yen. We'll take a look at a pound pair that I do like for the idea of going long. Pound yen, very bullish on this currency pair, right? Because I'm more short biased on the yen and long biased on the pound. So again, when we are looking at currency pairs, you have to consider, do you like the pound? Do you like the yen, right? You have to think about this objectively. You can't just say, oh, pound yen, it looks like it's going up, so I'm going to go long, right? Like, to me, there's a little bit more to it. There's understanding what you're buying and why, right? When you buy a stock or you buy gold or you buy anything, you should probably understand like why or what's going on to drive the prices around. So when we look at currencies, monetary policy, you've got unemployment figures, GDP growth, the economy is growing or shrinking of the currencies that we're looking at. It matters, and it makes a big impact on the big trends, right? For example, pound yen, if you had a fundamental bias of long during the 2020 retrace, not during the crash, but during the recovery phase, this thing, I've mentioned this many times, pound yen was my absolute favorite currency pair during 2020 because we had these incredible strides to the upside during the recovery phase, right? After the big drop and after the big scare in markets, things started to turn around. And as soon as they started to turn around, people started going back favoring that pound, which is higher risk. The UK economy is a little bit higher risk than the Japanese economy. The Japanese economy is huge. It's very established. It's very old. And, they are less volatile than the UK's economy. So when you piece that together, we saw when things started recovering, people actually were willing to take that risk and started flooding back into the pound, right? So when you think about that fundamentally, during this time, if you had a fundamentally bullish perspective on the pound yen, you caught so much upside just by buying dips, sticking with the fundamentals, and riding that trend, right? This is a daily chart, by the way. That's from the low to the high of that move there. That's 3,200 pips. That's a lot of move, right? So again, pound yen seems like it's returning to its former glory, or at least trying to. Maybe there's some more upside. I personally have mentioned that I like the idea of a retracement. If it happens, maybe I'll look to get in on a bigger swing trade and try and who knows, maybe go back to that 2020 rally, that strength in the pound against the yen. We'll see if that can come back into play. But again, we were really stuck in this downward trend. Many times on stream, we just talked about, hey, you know what? Until this thing breaks, there's just no interest on the pound yen. And truthfully, we did get the break. And depending on how, what your rules are for your sort of trading style, maybe you caught some of the action, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I did in different ways. I was short on the yen on against the dollar, against the CAD, right? So most of my trades against the yen were on dollar yen and CAD yen. I didn't catch pound yen, but pound yen is an absolute beast here and now seems pretty bullish again. So I do like the idea of going long on pound yen if I can find a good setup, maybe something that comes back to a serious level of support. So yeah, it's not live. It is definitely live. I'm here with you right now. This isn't live. Tito, it is live. Good to see you, Tito. I actually made this in recording, assuming that you would say that. So it is a recording. I'm kidding. Let's take a look at gold, you guys. XAU USD, we'll pull it up. There it is. Taking a look at the gold market today. So gold is still range bound, but it's doing something kind of interesting. It is making progress towards trying to trend higher. I pointed out yesterday, you've got this trend line. Things are looking pretty good. Maybe this is a retracement. If you're very bullish on gold, maybe there's opportunities to try and pick it up long and continue with this flow. We actually had an article put out on the site about inflation by actually my cousin, who's also a great writer and he's an economics guy. He shared a thought all over about inflation and how gold maybe could see further higher prices should inflation come back into fruition. And honestly, inflation is still very high, right? Inflation is still a big concern. So that story around inflation, if you're not familiar with fundamentals, if you're newer to trading, high inflation and concerns around inflation tend to cause gold to go up. Because think about it. Inflation means the dollar is dropping in value, right? And people start saying, okay, I don't want to hold on to cash. It's losing value. Let me go put it in other places like gold, right? Which is sort of that historically been argued as a hedge against inflation. There are all sorts of back and forths about that, but at least the story behind that, the idea of a hedge against inflation can cause gold to dramatically rise. And so to me, I've pointed out a couple different times, this is still on my watch list. I'm watching this 1830 zone to see if we really do have enough strength to get past that level. If things are able to break 1830, I will probably start looking at the gold market a little bit closer, something like this, right? If that happens, real strength comes into it, maybe there's opportunities to look for that. But in the meantime, looking at like the shorter time frames, the 1 hour chart here today, got a little bit of rejection up there at, what is that, 18, this zone here, 1810, let's say, just roughly. Saw a little bit of rejection there. The question is, will buyers buy this dip again? That's just waiting to see. And like I said, I don't have a big fundamental bias, so I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm not going to say, oh, I would buy this here, right? There may be traders out there who like that. If they're looking for that technical bounce, maybe there's opportunities there just going with that trend. But for me, I generally like to have a fundamental bias before I buy or sell something. And for gold, I am pretty fairly neutral / slightly bearish since I am bullish on the dollar at this time, right? So yeah, that is the idea. Yeah, appreciate all you guys here, by the way. I see a lot of comments today in the chat, and I may not get to all of your comments and questions, but I appreciate you being here. So thank you so much. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for me today. I do have some other things that I'd like to do, but guys, there is a big stream coming after this one with my friend Ivan. He will be coming on our second channel. And before you go, hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button, Down below in the descriptions, there's a whole bunch of free stuff for you. Like I said, these streams are free, but we have way more. You can get email newsletters on trade ideas throughout the week. You can join our Telegram channel. If you have Telegram and you're not in our channel, we share stuff every day. My team and I. So here at A1 Trading, we've got a whole plethora of free stuff for you. So check it out down below in the description. Guys, thank you very much, and we will see you back next time. What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for making it to the end of today's stream. It really does go way more than you know towards supporting this content and our team here behind the scenes that makes all of this content possible. Before you go, I want to invite you to join our free Telegram and our free Discord, which will both be linked down below in the description. We share trading ideas, we share tips and tricks, broker recommendations, things that may be helpful to you in your trading career. And again, it's completely free. So down below in the description, click those links, join us there, and we'll see you in the next stream.